Welcome to a Print and Play of the Week video. Today I'm going to be looking at What Lies Beneath. I should say that I was provided with a copy of this by the developers, but as ever, all opinions and gameplay errors are my own. So this is a choose your own adventure type game. So you start off with a character sheet, you pick a character, you set up some intro stats, and you have an adventure through a kind of a dungeon that you've woken up. You've got a tumor on your arm and you have to work out why you were there, how to escape, and how to cure yourself. I was brought up with, I grew up with fighting fantasy games from people like Steve Jackson. I played a bit of D&D and very much like these kind of games. This game has, I printed this out in A4. You can print it out and it's quite a few pages. You could print it out in a smaller, and basically you end up with sets of textual description that builds a nice narrative, and then you've got choices that you have to go through. When you start this game, you start with an encounter. The nice thing about this particular one is it basically builds in a tutorial as you do the first couple of encounters. So the first one helps you set up your character, so you can either be a bard, a berserker, a druid, a rogue, a warrior, or a wizard. You will need some dice, so you need 6 standard d6 dice. You'll need a pen. I've laminated my character sheet, and then you fill in some attributes when you start. So your main attributes, so say I was going to play as the bard, I would have a hit 2, I would have dexterity 1, and wit of 2. I would also start with a base of 8 vigor. You can have as much vigor as you like, but when you hit 0, you are dead. If you die, any experience you've gained, you can spend when you basically respawn and start again. You lose all of your equipment, and you build equipment down here. You've also got tags for karma, which is usually something bad, or wards, which is usually something good. And during your adventure, you'll pick up other tags, whether you're hunted or you've been poisoned or something, and then you'll be given different choices as you move through your adventure. So you go through, so it's your standard interesting choose your own adventure. It's got a nice narrative, but the thing that makes this one different, which I really like, is how it deals with the 3 main tests. That when you get to the end of when you read your narrative, you've got choices. Often those choices are determined by what you've collected, or skill rolls. And you've got 3 kind of skill rolls that you can do. You've got hit, you've got dexterity, and you've got wit. And they're all done in slightly different ways. And I think that's something that makes this game quite special. Your hit one is your standard roll a dice and get above a number. So if you're attacking a goblin and they've got a hit of 3, you roll your dice and you've got to roll above 3. So I got a 4. Great, I would have killed the goblin. Your hit value on your character card tells you how many dice you get to roll. So if I've got a hit of 2, I get to roll 2 dice every time I try hit. So I'd miss with, I needed to roll a 4, I would have missed with that one, but I hit with that one. And so hit is useful. The second skill check is dexterity. And dexterity is very much a dexterity test. If you have to do a target of dex 4, you basically got to get your dice. You put a dice, 2 dice, 1 dice on top of the other one. Your character sheet has a marking on it in inches, and you put your 3rd dice, if it was a 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 inches away. And then this is your dex stat. You have to flick the dice to hit those other dice, and it has to touch without knocking this top one off. So I didn't make it, I failed the test. Let's see if I can do one that actually works. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So of course, if you're further away, failed the test again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And your dex value is the number of tries you get. So if I've got a Dex 1, I get 1 go at doing it. If I've got a Dex 2, I get 2 tries. There you go. I hit it. I would have succeeded that dexterity test. And if you hit it too hard, obviously, you might knock them off, and that's a problem as well. So you've got to balance, and you can get better at it. During the game, you can pick up items that change the distance. So you might have distance -1, so you get 1 inch closer. And the third test is wit. And so with the test of wit, you have to basically get straights of numbers. So you'd have to get, so if it was a wit 3, I would have to get some combination that would give me, 2, 3, 4 would be a straight of 3. Or I could do 3, 4, 5. And you roll, I wonder how many dice you roll for the wit test. I think you roll, wit 4, oh, you roll, yeah, whatever dice. So if it's a wit 4, you'd roll 4 dice, and you'd have to get a straight of 4. So if I had to get a wit 4, I'd roll my dice. And so I've got 1, 2, 3. So I'm nearly there, and that's where your wit value kicks in. So if you've got a wit value of 2, you can manipulate manipulate a dice twice, and you can manipulate it by increasing its value. So I could turn that into a 2, decreasing its value. I can't take it, doesn't wrap, or I could flip it. So if I say, well, I'm going to use mine on my wit, I will flip that from a 1 to a 4. Boom, I've got a straight. That's my wit. I've succeeded. And then whatever the choice was in the game, I would then go to that page number and carry on that bit of adventure. So if we go back and have a look at our character classes, right back at the beginning, they've all got different combinations. So if you get a berserker, he's got a hit of 2, so he rolls 2 dice to hit, but 1 of everything else, and then he gets vigor of 16, so he's really hard to kill. I've played with the druid and the berserker, and I died miserably with both. The other thing that's neat about here is, as you're going through the adventure, this might be an example. When we get to 3, I think, here we go. So 3, it tells you pick up a key, and you'd write down the key value, CP1, on your card, and that's basically a little acronym. And at the back, well, the way I've printed it, is a rule sheet with basically a glossary of all the things you find, and you can look them up. So it doesn't clutter your card. I might look up CP1 if I have found it, and say CP1 is, where is it? CP1, it's crypt pass key. So if I hit an encounter that said you can go this way, or if you've got the crypt pass key, you can go that way. If you've got the item, you're good to go. It kind of works the same as tags. Often you'll get things that will say, if you've got karma of 2, this will happen. If you've got a ward of 1, this will happen. So with all these different combinations, I think there's lots of replayability through here. Some of the pathways are the same, but because you're doing skill checks, so this one's got a wit of, or a dexterity, you can pick whatever, and they all go to different places. Even when you play the same character, you might fail the test, and you might end up in different places. I'm not going to talk too much about the story, because that'd be a bit of a spoiler, but what I am going to do later on is do a playthrough video, and you can actually see me play through rather than turn this into a massive video. I really like it. I like choose your own adventures, and this is a fun solo RPG-like type game. It's got some really neat mechanisms. I like the dexterity checks, I like the wit checks, and I like how you've got that combination. I'm going to put a link below to the Board Game Geek, but yeah, check it out. Don't forget to subscribe and like.